Doug's custom board. Doug explained the design on this.
Well, this is Brian's new creation, and it's hand-shaped EPS foam.
How heavy is this thing?
I'm guessing right around maybe 20 pounds, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty light.
Oh, so even though it's hand-shaped, it's kind of light then?
Fairly light, yes. And it's got, with the blend of materials, it's got a blend of, the layup is different from any other layup, and I can't say, it's top secret.
Kind of cool, this pad thing, huh?
Yeah, the stomp pad, basically what it is our stock pad that we get manufactured. Basically we just take the deck pad, trace it out, cut out the hole in the pad, and the stomp pad. That way you know where your foot is.
Uh-huh. So what's going on with this tail?
Well, the wing swallow, theoretically, you want it to be a short board when you're riding the tail.
Right.
And you want it to perform more as a long board when you're up on the nose. And I'll explain that in a little bit once we flip the board over.
Okay. So this will make it, on the tail, it turns faster.
Turns faster, more responsive. Can handle bigger waves since the tail is so pulled in. But it's still stable. And the board tracks real nice. It tracks really straight. And the fin's set up.
How long is this thing again?
10 feet.
10 feet, okay.
So I'll flip it over. Kind of show you this interesting bottom that.
When you guys make these customs, do you always make a certain design, or you guys make it where, like, it's always design changes per person kind of thing? I mean, if they want to surf, do you recommend this kind of tail setup and this shape for people who want to surf?
This seems to be, to me, the most the freest surfing as far as it looks like a lot of fins. It looks kind of cluttered because there's a lot of fin going on. But with this forefin setup and this keel in the middle, this keel makes all the difference.
What it just keeps it straight, or what?
It keeps it tracking straight, but it also at the same time it gives it bite. So the board has that, since it's so wide, you need this center fin just to keep it tracking properly.
It looks like not too much V on this board either, yeah?
Just mostly back, slight here, but major on the end here.
Oh, so behind the fins.
Behind the fin, right.
Interesting.
It starts getting a little more solid, mostly flat in here. But as you can see, this chine right here, this is slight chine that rolls off on the edge here at about.
What does that mean, chine? Oh, this is like a little bit of a ridge almost.
Right,
like,
it's a ridge that comes down before the rail.
I don't know if you can see that. It's like kind of right here.
Right there, right. And if you look down the board, you can actually see the outline on the chine. This is where you're riding on a lot of the times when you're up and planing. But when you're sitting in the water, this is all in the water for stability. When you're up planing, this is the surface that's actually riding.
What width is this board?
28.
28. Is it tippy?
Not at all. No, it's very stable. It's very stable. And there's a lot of hip back here in the tail. So this gives you a lot of stability as well.
Can a big guy ride this?
Sure. This board is only 3 3/4 thick. And we might even try to go a little bit thinner, like 3.5 inches thick.
This is your board that you're riding?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is an interesting nose. I'm going to show you. This is Brian's latest creation here. It's called a bottleneck concave. I don't know if you can see it.
The lighting is
but what it is it comes from this point here.
Oh.
And what it does is it flares, it comes in and flares out like this. And all this does is create lift. It just gives the water somewhere to shoot out from and spill. So when you're up on the nose, this board really performs like the longboard, where you can do nose riding. But when you step back onto the tail, it turns like a shortboard. That's why this transition here from this bottleneck, it fades out right about here. It starts coming back to flat. A very neutral area back here where your front foot is. And then it starts going back to the V where your back foot is. Basically, your stomp is right at the beginning of this keel fin right there. And that gives it its drive. But these forefins also give it its maneuverability.
And then these are the fins that Jeff had shown us.
Yes. There's different setups you can do. We found this one was probably the most stable had the most drive. The smaller fins were good, but you need a larger center fin.
Uh-huh.
But for this setup right here in particular, this is the biggest quad setup.
You need the center fin even if it's small waves, like under head high kind of waves?
Not necessarily, you don't need it, but I like it just for the additional drive.
So it doesn't affect, like, you cannot turn it, it doesn't make it turn slower or anything?
No, not at all. No. In fact, it gives it a real nice feel, nice flow.
Uh-huh.
You can drive off your front foot or your back foot, and it doesn't seem to bog. No matter where you're on the board, it doesn't seem to bog down.
I think I can probably, in this, now that the sun kind of went down a little bit, I can see this. It's that kind of concave.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Bottleneck. Bottleneck concave. I've never heard of it before.
Yeah.
And then he said, I got an experiment. That's what it's all about right now, right?
You can kind of see from this angle. Kind of cool. We've got a lot of angles going on in this thing, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the rail is tucked rail too? I mean, it
right. This is
tucks
just
in
like,
underneath?
Basically what he did was he took his chine and he basically just rounded it. So he just softened it. He took another chine, the one that's in the store there, the orange board. This was originally a chine, and what he does is he's just softened everything out. He just rolled everything in. Actually made it more up here, like more of a 50-50 rail. It was more of a traditional longboard style. Going up over here, and then right about this edge, he starts to get his edge more subtle, then he starts to get sharper, sharper. Finally, right before the fins, it's all edge, all the way back to the tail, it's sharp. And that also up here gives it its neutral feel.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like it's going to bite. It doesn't have any hang-ups or anything like that.
So you ride this in big surf and small surf?
No, I ride this probably up to maybe 4 or 5 feet Hawaiian scale max. But
so like head and a half or something like that?
Head and a half, yeah. And it's fine. There's no skiddiness or anything. It's just a solid feeling board.
So that's pretty much for most, I mean, 90-something% of the time, right? That's what it's going to be,
basically,
wave conditions.
Yeah. And this nose I swear this nose makes a huge difference. It's just a new concept that actually works. I mean, when I first saw it, I was kind of scratching my head going, I don't know about this thing.
Just got to try, right?
Got to try. Everything's so new right now with the sport that, everything's groundbreaking. No matter which way you turn, you blink and it's changed.
Right.
There's a new concept on it.
So
this is our theory.
What are the other boards that you have in your car? Are they same thing as this one? The ones in the bags?
No, not really. Actually, they're really different from this. Well, there's one that's kind of similar, but it doesn't have the bottleneck concave. It just has a standard single barrel.